From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 30th, 2021. Israel's Foreign Minister and alternate Prime Minister Yair Lapid inaugurated Israel's consulate in Dubai today, which he said signified so much.
The consulate isn't symbolic. It's a place of life, of tourism, of business, of dialogue between two talented peoples who can and who want to contribute to one another. The peace we are celebrating today isn't between governments and leaders, but between people and nations. It isn't peace for me and my colleagues standing here, but for our children.
Lapid was joined at the opening ceremony by Emirati Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Omar Sultan Al Olama. While in Dubai, Lapid also toured Israel's pavilion, still under construction, at the upcoming Dubai Expo 2020 trade fair, which had been postponed since last year because of the coronavirus pandemic and opens this coming October. The Israeli foreign minister's visit was given front-page coverage in the United Arab Emirates' major print newspapers in English and in Arabic. Outgoing Israeli President Reuven Rivlin concluded his official U.S. visit last night, his last as President of the State of Israel, sharing photos yesterday from the United Nations in New York, where, as we reported to you, he met with Secretary General Antonio Guterres, to whom Rivlin tweeted, "I emphasized that peace between Israel and the Palestinians will never ever be achieved by anti-Israel resolutions or investigation committees, and stressed that bias against Israel at the UN must end." And in a gathering of UN ambassadors in honor of Rivlin held yesterday, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, said she has been proud to stand up for Israel, as of many of us here today, she said, have, in the face of one-sided actions against Israel. Thomas-Greenfield also posted a photo from her meeting this week with Leah Golden, who accompanied Rivlin on his U.S. visit. She tweeted that the U.S. will continue to advocate for the return of Israeli soldiers killed in action in Gaza, as well as the return of Israeli civilians held captive there. Referring to Golden's son Hadar and fellow IDF soldier Oron Shaul, whose remains are being held by terror group Hamas in Gaza for almost 7 years now, and to the two Israeli civilians being held captive by Hamas, Avira Mengistu and Hisham al-Sayad. Rivlin raised the same issue while at the UN, tweeting that he introduced the ambassadors to Leah Golden and asked them to join us in the diplomatic efforts to bring our captives held by Hamas terrorists home and put an end to the family's ongoing nightmare. Rivlin also extended a hand in peace while at the meeting to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, issuing a message directed to Abbas that it's our role to end conflict. Let's forget about the past. Let's build confidence. There are opportunities to achieve a bright future for our peoples. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier arrived in Israel today for a farewell visit with Rivlin, who leaves office next week. Steinmeier will also meet with Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett and visit Yad Vashem, Israel's memorial to the Holocaust in Jerusalem. The Student Council of Yale University approved a resolution accusing Israel of genocide, ethnic cleansing, and apartheid against the Palestinians. The Forward reported that the Yale College Council adopted the anti-Israel statement originally written by student group Yaleys for Palestine this past Sunday. It also tries to link the Israeli-Palestinian conflict to racial injustice in the U.S. The Forward cites a response from the Slifka Center for Jewish Life at Yale from chaplain Rabbi Jason Rubenstein, executive director Uri Cohen, and Yale's Hillel Student Board co-presidents, who condemned the resolution. saying it characterizes the Jewish state as an agent of the world's most reprehensible forces and guilty of the most unspeakable crimes, in other words, demonically. They said the decision was not in keeping with the YCC's stated mission of protecting student rights and freedoms, fostering school unity and pride. It was a betrayal, they wrote, of this promise of protection and a blow to the moral fiber that binds Yale and humanity together. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, June the 30th at 7 o'clock. Professor Zvi Gitelman discusses how nationality and religion are used to describe Jews in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. At 8, Chuck Freilich and Major General Eitan Dangot analyze the priorities that Israel and the U.S. should consider when confronting the Iranian threat. That's from the MirYam Institute. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Jeffrey Gurock to discuss aspects of the Jewish experience in America. And at 10, American Jewish history professor Jonathan Sarna describes the early development of Jewish communities in America. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 30th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.